what's the major childhood memory that you will remember always? A major one.
Some things happen and you might want to question life. I'm making peace with the fact that anything can happen, right?
That's personal. You know, one thing I used to tell people is that on campus, if you're going to be an entrepreneur in the real world, you should start on campus.
Sure.
Because you have a market that is ready.
Business is not very easy. There are interesting days and then there are days that are quite down. You imagine that kind of conference, I'm like, no, that's not what I've been told all my life.
She is the managing director of Avant-Garde, an investment company with AUM, asset under management of over $10 million. She has a lot she's going to be sharing with us today, from her upbringing, her background, her success story, and I know there are lots more you all are going to learn today. I have here with me Alma Okuta. Growing up, what are the things you're passionate about? What's driving you today?
I have three passions. Three, right? Yes. I would say they are finance, fashion, and then education.
I'm going to make this confession first. I saw your exciting tweets, and I don't, as at this time last year, I don't know Alma. I just got to know, I knew her some months back, and I saw the way you were making Twitter exciting. I told you that. I like, who's this lady? So I put up a follow, and the next day I went to her bio, and it was intimidating. I'm going to confess. I was like, so who's this lady? Is she running a venture capital company somewhere in the US? And I saw her address, Lagos, Nigeria. I said, I'm like, okay, we're going to invite her. I want to hear from her. And I went to do more research about her, and I said, no. This is somebody we want to learn from. Welcome once again to Welcome.
It's very good to be here. Thank you.
What was your childhood memory like? What was your growing up before you became whoever you became? What was growing up like for you?
I'll say that growing up was pretty interesting and it was fun. You know, I grew up in a Christian home, a home where, we're like a tightly knit family, a home of love, learning. Learning was really key because, growing up, for example, we had a library at home. The library that's school books and all of that, library where our parents buy like so many novels for us, and we just grew up learning, reading. We had interest, read. It was a cozy environment. That's what I'll just put it at. And I would say why I say tightly knit is because it was like from home to school to church. It wasn't really anything more.
The cycle like that.
Yeah, and I think there was one thing my parents did that I really, really enjoyed, and that was they celebrated every single thing. Growing up, I don't remember a single birthday that my siblings and I did not celebrate. And when I mean celebrate, I mean like throw a party. So it was like, our parents I think we had parents who would celebrate like no matter what. So you go to school, we come back with our results. My daddy will buy us gifts, maybe give us small money. We'll go and give my mom to keep for us, just an account.
Oh, interesting. A savings account. Interesting.
My mom will open shares then, for each of us. So she would just always be topping up, the shares and all that. And for example, we go to church on Sundays. After service every Sunday, we would go out as a family to eat like Mr. Biggs. Someone like me, I always look forward to like having ice cream and meat pie, So it was just like it was interesting. It was fun. Go to church. I mean, we pray as a family. We had morning devotions. So, that togetherness, I think, and was like a very key part of growing up.
Interesting. And I would like to ask, what's the major childhood memory that you will remember always? A major one. I know there are many of them. Who's a major one you would like to share with us today?
Well, I think there's a childhood memory I would never forget, which is, growing up, I was more like a tomboy. Let me put it that way.
Okay.
I used to just dress up like a tomboy. I mean, I've always liked lip gloss. Okay. So I would put powder on my face and lip gloss, but my dressing would typically be tomboyish and all of that. And I think I remember the first day I wore a skirt or something. So I'm also very athletic. I used to run, march, all those kind of things in school. So my legs, I have this, I don't know whether they call it like football legs or something, So I remember the first day I wore a skirt, and we came down, we were playing with like our, friends and neighbors and all of that. And then one guy was like, you have yams. That's what I mean, he said, you have yams and stuff like that. And I'm like, what's yams? And he was like, your leg, you have yams. It's like a guy's legs and all of that. And when he said that, I was like, okay. I had never been conscious of it, you understand? But I remember I went home that day and I told my mommy that I never wanted to wear anything that wasn't trouser anymore.
Wow.
It was a big deal. Like, I only started wearing trousers.
Wow.
You know, but my mommy told me that, no, your legs are beautiful, don't mind them, that kind of stuff. So I think it enhanced the tomboyishness somehow. And it was until university that, you know, I became less conscious of that. And that was because another stranger, you know, in university, I just entered university, looked up to me and said, you have really beautiful legs. So you imagine that kind of consciousness. I'm like, no, that's not what I've been told all my life. Like, like I've been hiding that like my whole life. So I think that the childhood memory that was key. But when in university, I'm just like, no, you know what? But right now, I actually really love my legs.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Where did you school? University?
Come University.
Oh, Papa Oedipu's daughter. Okay, so going up, what are the things you're passionate about? What's driving you today?
I have 3 passions. 3, right? Yes. I would say they are finance, fashion, and then education. So those 3 things, you know, I like to do anything around those 3 things. You know, I'm fascinated about the fact that, you know, you could have this amount of money today and you can just grow it. You know, so for example, I mean, like someone would say, if you have a salary, imagine you're being paid salary every month, but you don't even need to touch your salary because, you know, you have like residual or other income coming in that fends for your needs, and then you can just keep investing or put your salary into some other form of investment that will keep growing it. I mean, so I find that very fascinating, and I would prefer that to, you know, just getting money and then just lavishing, you know, spending, and then, you know, you're just depleting the resources you have. Second thing is fashion. I mean, I think I've always been very fashionable from childhood, and as a young child, I liked to play with doll babies. So my daddy would always indulge me. So, you know, I had so many doll babies. At the corner in my room, I had a house like for them where I used to use them to act in dramas and all this.
Personal.
It was actually personal. My mom thought, at some point, my mom was like, no, this is becoming an idol. So we have to like start watching it. Jigger. Like, she actually used the word idol because I would, if I'm not reading, I'll be in that corner. You'll just be acting dramas with all of them. And, you know, they have like, I want them to have like Sunday outfits. Maybe when they're going to the village, have their village outfit. When they're going to bed, have their...
Make these clothes for them.
I started, you know, I would cut up things. So my mom said, don't destroy things in my house. So she started giving me like old curtains, old pillowcases, old bed sheets. And she's like, just do what you want to do with them. Then she now bought me a sewing machine. You know, those like fancy table sewing machines. So I would actually sit down, sew things for my doll babies. So they were always looking so good, you know. Wow. I mean, they had outfits. So I mean, that was something that just really grew. Even me, you know, I would like to dress up, you know, just look good, that kind of stuff. Then when it comes to education, I like the knowledge. I like the idea of, you know, impacting knowledge. And, you know, being an intelligent kid in quotes. I found myself in this situation in circumstances where I had to teach people a lot. Like, you know, if I understand a concept and I see that my classmate is struggling, I'm so eager. Like, let me teach you. Like, it's actually really simple. You know, let me break it down for you. Something like that. And so, I mean, that has also spurred some of the things I've done. If anywhere there's there's a volunteering opportunity to teach, facilitate, or help someone, I'm always like, I'm not even looking for pay. Just bring it on.
I think we have a new facilitator at Daba. So we're bringing Awa to come and teach at Daba. So guys, we have officially a new facilitator at Daba. Exciting to know that you have interest in education, finance, and fashion. Now, from what I know there's this popular thing that don't chase your passion won't give you money. But I know that's a different talk. And I believe in using your passion to create something. So I'm sure that whatever you're doing today is still in line with your passion. Are there initiatives or businesses you started because you were passionate about fashion, education, and finance? Share with us.
Yes, so I have a fashion brand. It's called Velvet Empire. So what we do, we tailor perfect ensembles for people. It's more like a mobile kind of company where we're the ones, you don't need to stress. We come to meet you to do anything you want to do. Just so you have your fabrics, we send someone over to you to take your measurements, take your fabrics, do some consultation about the styling you want. We go back, sew up anything you want. We come back and deliver it to you. So it's almost like just chill. we would do the work and all of that.
Okay.
And of course, that came from like, you know, the
Passion you have.
about fashion.
Yeah.
And I mean, I started it in 2016, 29th of September. This year, it will be 7 years.
Yeah.
And it's been doing well so far. Currently, what we even focus on now, we started focusing on like bulk orders, where we go to companies that were like, okay, we can sew your uniforms for you, or we go to schools, let's sew up uniforms for you. We also like to do a lot of like ashwebis, where we if they're brides, we welcome brides also. We also make like men's outfits, fathers, you know, what you guys call senators and all of that. So that's the fashion, you know, I've started something in that line. For finance, that's where, that's where Avant-Garde comes in. So Avant-Garde is is an investment company.
You founded Avant-Garde?
Yes, I founded it with like a business partner.
Okay.
And currently we have education in Nigeria, and we have in Tanzania.
Okay.
So we run two funds, debt fund and then a venture capital fund. So the debt fund is more like we give out short-term loans to SMEs.
Okay.
And I mean, we know how Nigeria is. SMEs really need capital.
Liquidity.
So, you know, exactly.
Yes.
So working capital, you know, to just expand, to scale and all of that. So we provide them with that capital at very like competitive interest rates. And then for the VC arm, we invest in startups, technology startups, you know, different, across different sectors. Yeah, so that's how, you know, that the finance passion has, you know, spurred. When it comes to education, I don't know if you've heard of this program, Ready, Set, Work. The Lagos State government was doing it for, I think it was COVID that stopped that program.
Okay.
But before then, they had done it for like 3-4 years. And I had facilitated for them all through.
Okay.
You know, so we call it Ready, Set, Work because we were preparing a lot of final year students in federal or public universities for the world of work. So they will have like a 3 months program where, you know, we teach them things like CV writing, presentation skills. You know, we call companies, we have like mock interviews where companies actually come and take them as interns. You have companies like PwC, you know, banks would come. So there's like a mock and then the real, you know, demo day, that kind of stuff. So that was something I did for Lagos State for like three years, you know. Also, I was privileged to work with, you know, a former minister of Nigeria where, you know, we're trying to like start up an A-level school for girls.
Okay.
So we're looking for extremely talented girls from the poorest of the poor homes, you know, where we give them access to tuition free. We give them access to, you know, going through some kind of like A-level, you know, some people have gone through secondary school, maybe they stopped at SS2 or they wrote WAEC, no money to go to university. So they first go through a kind of finishing school and then a training to just refresh their memory of what it is. And then the goal is that by the time they're done, they're getting scholarships to Ivy League schools, you know. And I mean, if you say you don't want to go to university, we could give you capital to start up something that you have probably, because that school is, apart from education, it's also some kind of like, you know, there are workshops, opportunities for like entrepreneurship. And then if that's the route you want to go through, you go through that. So those are the kind of things I do, you know, when it comes to like education.
Interesting. So I think with this conversation, we're having two schools of thoughts now. That means with what you're saying, you would tell someone, chase your passion.
Yes.
Because we have people who say, if your passion is not about chasing passion, it's about making money. How do you marry these two talks we keep seeing? Because, yeah, you're passionate about finance, you have Avant-Garde. You're passionate about education, you have... Because I know one of the things I had to do was I went straight to your LinkedIn page and I went to your IG page. So on your IG page, I was saying things about girl child education, and I came to your Twitter, but your Twitter, you don't put a lot about those girl child education because I know how you're thinking with Twitter. Okay, so how would you tell someone who's young about this whole thing, about the person is passionate, but they're telling the person, if you chase your passion, you will have money?
So I think this is what I would say. There's passion, but then people need to be very careful to put in the work. Let me put it this. Let me explain. I think that people just talk about passion, I have a passion for this, and before you know it, it's almost like your passion, that passion clouds your mind. You forget that, no, minus passion, if you don't start, if you don't put the work, then your passion is whatever. It's just like, you hear some people saying, when imagination is not really good because there's some kind of things it does to you. I don't understand where they're coming from because there's some people that they eat, like when you say vivid, you know that thing of vivid, you know, when they start to imagine before you know it, they're using so much time to imagine maybe 80% of the time they're imagining,
Yeah.
and then 20% is what they're now giving for like the real work. No, the imagination should be like maybe 10-20%, and the work should be like 80%, where you're like, so when people say chase your passion or be careful that your passion will not make you money,
Yeah.
it's because people sit down and think so much about that passion
Without putting the
work.
interest.
Yeah, so
I know you mentioned that you went to Covenant University. Was it business you studied in the Covenant University?
undergraduate was computer science. I did an MBA also in Covenant University.
Okay. So because I want to know why you are doing something in investment company today. Did you learn it on the job, or it was just because you're passionate about it and next thing you just found this thing?
No, so I would say that I think my investment journey started in 2014, like proper. So I'm somebody who I've always saved. You know, when I was in secondary school, I had the habit of, keeping a part of my purchase.
Yeah.
When I'm going home, I always go home with gifts. I mean, of course, in secondary school, it's not real money because you know how your parents will pay money to the school, but they will not give you paper money. So it wasn't real money. But in university, every month I saved a part of my pocket money. I think I started with like maybe 30K or 40,000 naira pocket money. I would save at least 5,000 every month.
Wow.
And then I think as my pocket money increased, I was increasing my savings. So I had a separate account where I would always save. In 300 level, I went for IT. I did my IT at Bristol Helicopters, right? And I was one of the people who got like, you know how IT, some people don't even get paid during that kind of internship.
Yes.
My salary was actually that was 2013. And they were paying me at least 60,000.
Oh.
So if I came to work during the weekends, I'll get more than that because they'll add some. So, but then my daddy was still giving me pocket money during that period. So I was saving the whole salary from Bristol Helicopters and then just spending the money my daddy gave me. Of which the money my daddy gave me, I was still saving some because I was staying with uncle. I was getting like free ride to work and back home, something like that. So I wasn't really spending much. I had free food, that kind of stuff. So NYC came. I saved all my NYC salary because my father was still here. I mean, let's just thank God for good parents. Grateful would just,
Very, very, very exciting.
Yes.
Very.
So I was saving. So by the time I was done with NYC, I had like an amount of money. And I was asking myself that, this money cannot just keep staying in this account. What can I do with it? So I walked into UBA Bank because that was the bank I used to save. And I'm like, what can I do? And they said, let's tell you about treasury bills. And I'm like, when I heard about it, I was like, okay, that sounds interesting. So let me start with like maybe, I think I started with like the minimum amount of days, maybe 60 days or something. So I kept on turning money over with treasury bills. Then as we left school, my classmates started founding their own businesses at their own companies. And sometimes they were looking for capital. As young founders, I would now say, okay, I can give you this money, but you pay me back with interest. So then I was still navigating my career kind of because I was just fresh from NYC, still just jumping from one jump 8 to 5 to the other. But I was investing, right? It might not have been like through an actual company, but I was investing as Alma.
Yeah.
And then I was also researching some other investment platforms. I'll just go here, take a risk, put some more money here, get my capital, get my money with interest, put more money, something like that. So it has always been like a journey. So when the opportunity actually came to like start off or found an investment company, it was a no-brainer. But so far, of course, I've gone through so many investment courses. I've gone to get some kind of like professional degrees, just to, and then the MBA, of course.
As it stands now, with your passion, because you mentioned earlier that if you learn something, you want to teach it. So would you like to teach people how to invest?
Of course, I do that on Instagram. I have a page called Investor Alma. It's a private community, right?
Okay.
So the reason why I say it's a private community is because I want to be sure that people who are there, want to be there. I mean, it's free. I give out the finance tips and information for free, but I need to be sure that you actually want to learn, whatever I'm putting out there. So I do that already for free.
Okay, because I'm already thinking, like I said earlier on, somebody's coming on that bar. Don't worry, you guys will hear the news soon. Okay, so I'm going to have this one again. When did you make your first 1 million naira or your first million?
When I think that was in 2014 during NYC.
Okay.
So I mean,
what did you do then?
So during NYC, I was actually supposed to work on like an actual computer science tech project with a professor.
Okay.
But that didn't really go so well because the professor couldn't be available, something like that. So I found myself there I did my NYC in Korea University. So I found myself why? So I found myself back there in Korea University and I was like, okay, I was just free. I had so much free time. I'm like, what can I do? So I said, see you in market. I mean, if you know CU students, you will know that CU is a good market to sell.
It is.
So I'm like, what can I do? What would they like? I'm like, let me start a business. So I know how, CU girls like to be fashionable on Sundays. They would like to wear heels. And then they don't really go out of school. So I started going to Lagos markets. I'll buy like shoes, nice shoes, nice some nice dresses and all of that, that were compliant with what the school would allow. And I'll go back there and they start buying, So what I now did was I went to each of the female halls and I had sales reps in all the halls, they had all the pictures, go to the market, get pictures, get some physical samples. The sales rep will be showing their friends, people will come, place orders. They will collect like 40% or 50% of the money. I will now go to them, gather that 40 or 50%, go to the market, buy, top up whatever from my own pocket with whatever needs to be done. When I come back, they balance.
This is practical business.
I mean, it was crazy. I can never forget the day I made my first meal. I think that day was really stressful. I got to the market and I got back to school by like 12 a.m. Something really, they literally closed Kenaland Gate. And, then I didn't have a car. So, and I'm very tiny. I was tiny then. So I was jumping bus. The distance between Lagos Market and Kuta.
Yes.
So I'll be carrying like really heavy bags with public transport. I was tired. I was famished. When I got there, they were like, "Gate is locked." I was begging, just help me open. It was like I had to trek from Kenaland to my apartment inside school because all the shuttles are gone, that kind of stuff. And that day I went out and I was like, I'm so tired. I cried. The next day, I'm like, let me go and deliver to them. So I delivered, got all my money back. So whenever I get my money, I'll come back, sit down in my room. I'll dedicate like 1 hour where I'm now doing like the books, calculating. And when I hit that one, like, how I had cried the previous day out of stress. Tuesday was like, okay, it's actually worth it.
Oh,
yes. So that was.
This is real business. Real business lesson, practical. Okay, and one thing I used to tell people is that on campus, if you're going to be an entrepreneur in the real world, you should start on campus.
Sure.
Because you have a market that is ready. You have a market you can sell popcorn to. You have a market you can sell clothes to. You have a market you can test something. And my mentor used to tell me back then that if you can do it and succeed on campus, you can come out in the real world and succeed. Yes, we learn from the stories of the Google founders. They were on campus, they were doing their own search engine stuff. And today, look at what they are. While you're watching Daba TV, let me know what you're learning in the comment section. Put it in the comment section because, of course, I'm going to pick a winner. I'm going to pick the best comment and give you a gift. Investor Alma is still here with us. What are the business lessons? I wanted to mention something earlier on, but I know I mentioned something like you're the managing director of. You've already mentioned how you got started, even when you read computer science. What are the business lessons you've learned building Avant-Garde?
Business is not very easy. There are interesting days, and then there are days that are quite down, right? But those days where it just looks like what is really going on here, you have to remember why you started, right? So the first lesson I would say is, there's definitely a place for continuous knowledge or continuous learning, right? So at no point should you stop learning. Sometimes people, just the way you say investor, Ama, some people come and say, oh, Ama, you have some. I'll say, I don't have any. Like, I'm always very quick to say, no, I don't know anything. Why? Because I want to keep that in my mind so that at no point do I feel like, oh, you've done this for 5 years. You must know something. So it never stops me from learning. So there's a place for continuous learning. Of course, there's a place for dedication, putting in the work, sleepless nights. You will have those days. I think there was a tweet I saw one time that somebody said, I gave money to social company, and after 1 year they gave me back one interest or something, and I'm like, it was like a savings, not an investment.
Yeah.
And it's like, if I had started doing business, and when I started, I really left. I'm like, oh my god, the way people just downplay business is like, business is so easy. It's actually very risky. Because you could actually lose all your capital. It's like equity.
Yes.
You can start a business, it doesn't work, and guess what? You've lost all your money.
I replied the same guy.
I
said, you're not even happy you saw capital.
That you saw your capital. No matter how little the interest is.
Yes.
I know the interest doesn't beat inflation, but
yes,
it's still.
You have your capital. In Nigeria today, if you do a business and your capital returns back, you are good.
You're good. You understand?
You're good.
So, of course, there has to be a place for dedication, and where you put that focus, you're ready to put the work and all of that. And one other thing is, I don't take this out at all. Me, I always talk about the God factor.
Yeah.
Right? Because, for example, we run a debt fund, and like I say, in like 2 years, we've had like 100% success rate where
People return the money.
yes. But guess what? There's some people that when they did their own, they did not return the money. But all of us, we did the due diligence together. So there's a place where I continue to give God, that's respect and the honor for just making sure that things are easier.
Yes.
They don't get harder than they go. So those are some of the of course, like I say, read books. Continue to develop yourself. There are so many platforms out there like Daba School.
Yeah.
You could go on there. There are so many things you can learn. On how to start a new business.
Yes.
How to scale your business.
Yes.
So just keep learning. The more you learn, the more it's like it just opens your mind, and you become more like you have ideas.
Trust.
There are more things you can do. There are more in a place like Nigeria now. Everybody's looking for like when I see that I and my friends are seated and talking, at some point we'll just be like, okay, is there a new opportunity? I'm looking for an extra source of income.
Seriously.
You know how Nigeria is now.
Seriously.
So if we're not learning, if we're not reading, you wouldn't know how this problem is actually an opportunity to make some more money, something like that. So those are the kind of things I would advise here.
I've seen the portfolio of your company and what you guys are doing. I've seen several startups you've invested in and you're there for. What do you think the future of Babangida looks like?
The future of Babangida is there's a statement we use very often to the moon. Like
that's our crypto world.
I mean, like I'm not actually going to the moon because like the kind of work we're doing is sometimes you have to sit back and be like, wow, this is amazing. And of course we'll continue to help startups, we'll continue to help SM, we'll continue to support them. And in doing that, I mean, imagine somebody came with an idea and you believed in that person and you said, take this capital, take this seed capital, and tomorrow you hear that company is a unicorn. I mean, like
it's the biggest joy.
It's the biggest joy. Minus the money.
Yes.
You just be like, wow.
I did so.
At least I had insight.
Yes.
To believe in these guys.
Yes.
So it's to the moon. There's no point where it's going to be worse than more. It's only going to get better. And I look forward to like the amount of work that we have and we're willing to put in as much work as possible.
Interesting. So how do you combine this passion of your girl child thing, education, finance, and because you're building and you're running the fashion line, you're doing girl child education, you're doing education stuff. How do you combine this as a CEO and as a Wonder Woman? I'll use that word.
I mean, I don't do it all. So of course there are places where I have to delegate. Try and employ the right hands, competitive hands, people who can help you. People who can help you achieve your vision or whatever your goals.
Yeah.
So I think that's how it's been easy. Like for example, in the fashion business, we have tailors who would typically do majority of the work. I don't remember last time I said I sat on top of the machine. Like, no, of course, like
interest.
You understand? Of course, with the investment company also, we have like, business partners. We have people who are also staff of the company who would, everyone knows what they're supposed to do. So it makes it easier, a lot easier, yes.
Okay. I'm gonna go into this one now. I saw a tweet.
Do you remember that you said you saw a tweet? He's like, I'm a Twitter warrior.
No, even yesterday on Twitter, I saw when you were bringing this conversation to my timeline. I said, "Who are they winning 20,000 pounds?" Like, what is that?
I know. I thank God. I saw
somebody complaining. So when I saw you were giving the person, I said, "Okay, I'm
actually really gentle, honestly.
No, I know you're gentle.
I'm actually really gentle. Yes.
I did not say you're not gentle.
Okay.
I thought inside your DM, I said your tweet is exciting, but when you give them to you fire them. So during the election period, I saw a tweet and I said, I am the daughter of Oputa. I'm the daughter of Justice. I'm the daughter of Patutomi. So I want to clarify, and I have to ask you today again. Are you the daughter of the late Justice Oputa, who is Oputa panel? Because I watched Oputa panel very, very well growing up as a child. Okay, on AIT was a live show. I don't know why they're not giving this like court proceedings now. Okay, so I want to clarify, who is Alma Oputa? Are you the direct daughter of Justice Oputa? Who is Patutomi also to you?
Well, so I'm not the direct daughter of Justice Oputa.
Okay.
So Justice Oputa and my grandfather, they are brothers. I mean, their father married a lot of wives. Okay. So the age difference to Justice Oputa and my grandfather is a lot, because I think Justice Oputa was like the first son or something, if I'm correct. And then my grandfather was one of like the last wife.
Okay.
So I would say like Justice Oputa is like my grand uncle, right?
Okay.
Because if he's a brother to my
Dad.
grandfather,
Yeah, your grandfather.
yes, my
yeah,
that's my grand uncle,
Yes,
exactly.
yes.
Yes, then Patum is a mentor, and I mean, one of the people I respect the most. I really, really respect him. I've been privileged to work closely with him,
Okay.
and then the Center for Values and Leadership, like CVL. So he's a mentor. He's like a father to me, and I really respect him.
So for the Oputa now, Charlie Boy is your uncle.
Yes.
Interesting. So we've gotten the clarity. When next time when you see Oputa, you guys should. So what are the key lessons you've learned about life over the years? Key lessons.
I think one lesson I'm learning is that life is really not black and white, and some things happen, and you might want to question life. I'm making peace with the fact that anything can happen, right? So I think when you have that at the back of your mind, you don't get too disappointed, because I could be that kind of person before that I will just read some kind of news and I will say it doesn't concern me or my family, and I'll still be like, God, like in heaven,
Why did this?
Why did this happen? Like, why should this happen? I mean, you're a good God, so it just makes you sometimes you just find yourself questioning God, which shouldn't really be, right? So I've made peace with the fact that this life, anything can actually happen, and it helps me to just live in the moment, to always live ready. I tell people, yes, I know I don't believe in frivolous lifestyle or some kind of extravagant, especially when you cannot afford it. But I actually really believe in living in the moment. Like, yes, there are delayed gratifications, but as much as you can, just live, so that, because you never really know. So at least you can maybe when you're gone, it could be that you actually lived a invaluable life, a life where people can say, no, this person added value, and you can say that this person enjoyed himself or herself. Of course, live a godly life. As a human being, you must have values. So I tell myself that anything can happen. And like I said some few days ago, sometimes bad things happen to people who don't even deserve it. True. So when you find all these kind of things happening to you, when I think about that, I'm like, don't be discouraged, because sometimes too, even the good things that happen to you, it's not like you worked so hard or that you really deserved it. It's just that maybe God smiled on you, or something like that. So life is just take life. I mean, one day at a time, and as much as possible.
While we're bringing this show to an end, are there questions you think that something you think that I did not ask you would like to share with us? Anything.
Let me think. Something you did not ask that I would like to share. Well, I think I've already shared it. If you tell me to share more things, I would go spiritual.
Okay.
I'll just begin to talk about how everybody should just try and as much as possible have your own personal relationship with Jesus. I mean, I'm actually really passionate about people living uprightly. I know that as human beings we're flawed. We can't always be perfect, right? But if I sit and everybody asks me, who would you like to share to people, I'm like, please, as much as possible, I'm not saying follow a pastor or live or worship a pastor. No, you worship God, as in just build that personal relationship, because it actually makes life really easy. To be honest, I've lived a life of ease. If I look around my life and see how things have played out and everything, I've actually lived a life of ease, honest truths. And part of these things have, yes, one, confession. Of course, I'm always confessing positive. I'm always saying what I want, even when I don't know how it happened. I can wake up next day when I'm writing my goals for next year. I can say, how am I going to visit 20 countries this year? Sometimes when I show, because I have accountability partners, and when I show them, they will be like, how? I'm like, I don't know, but God is going to just make it happen. Something like that. So when you're somebody who confesses positive all the time, but it goes beyond that. If you compare to who, to what? Do you understand? So if you don't even have that relationship with God, who are you confessing it to? How does it then work? So I think that's, and then another thing is, I'm actually a very gentle person. That tweet you mentioned about, just to put that on Pastor, I think that's when brought me to the limelight, Twitter limelight.
Okay.
And, I'm just like, oh wow. But I mean, generally, I'm
so it was during the election time, and she told me casually that she just tweeted that she wasn't expecting all the
It's not.
with it, all that. Okay. We'll go on a quick short break and we'll come back We're going to ask her some trivia questions, fun questions. If she misses it, she'll give us $1 million. After all, she's the CEO, she's the managing director of Amalgrad. For those of you who don't know what DABA 5000 is, it's a mentorship platform where we mentor people in different areas: real estate, finance, sales, business. You're going to be learning from the likes of Jeff Benson, RBFX, Dixon and Sulfur, Chinonso, experts, me, myself, legal experts, marketing expert, Ronaldo Zimora, different people in different fields, people that will change your life. Mentorship, okay, so it's a yearly subscription stuff. So what you do is go to www.school/daba5000, the website showing on your screen and on the link, okay, and you subscribe, okay, to be part of it. It's my course. For those of you asking, Chrisani, mentor me. Those who you want to get mentorship in tech and building a business, this is the platform I use to mentor people. So subscribe right now to DABA 5000, okay? For those who want to become successful, wealthy, mentorship is your answer. All right, welcome back to Wealth Creation Podcast, and I'm sure you guys have been enjoying my conversation with investor Alma, who put out the greats, okay? And the next questions we're going to ask are going to be both fun and she, like I said, if she doesn't answer it very fast, she will give us $1 million. But before we go into that question, Alma, I saw something on your Twitter, and in short, it's like I said, your Twitter is an exciting place. I saw you had loads of books on that. It's in your pin tweet, and I think it's in 2018. You said you read all these books, and people were asking you were giving them reply for each of those books and what you learned. I know many books have impacted you, but I'm going to ask, what's the most impactful book you've read?
Ego is the enemy.
By who? I know the book picture, but I'm trying to remember the author.
Yeah, I think it has. I'm so sorry. I don't think I'm author.
Okay.
But Ego is the enemy, and because that book really put like a lot of things in perspective for me, where, especially as human beings who are very confident, you also need to make sure that there's some form of control. There's a level of confidence that then begins to look like ego. So reading that book, I'm like, I kept, just checking myself. Are there things that, you need to, and ever since I read that book, there is no day that I wake up that I don't tell myself that I'm no ego today, something like that. So I would say I think everybody needs to read that book. It's really interesting.
So I'll give
Ryan Holiday.
Okay. I'll give you guys assignments today. Go and get the book, Ego is the Enemy by Ryan Holiday. Okay, so let's go to our own. There are simple ones, don't worry. Well, don't panic. Breathe in and breathe out.
I got this.
You got this. Okay, so where do I start from? There are simple bonus questions though. So if replying a message would mean saving a life, how much of a lifesaver do you think you'll be?
I think I would do really well. Maybe out of 100%, maybe like an 89. Yeah, I'm very, I think that's even 90. I'm very responsive. I try as much
interesting
to be.
So we'll put a hands of applause for her. Okay. Lost on an island without food, water, and a compass or map, but you have 10 seconds to call just one person to rescue you. Who would you call? When did you say? That was fast. That was fast. Okay. In the most correct order, which one best describes you? A is foodie, B fashionista, C fanciful girly, D baby girl for life. In the most correct order, which one describes you? A is foodie, B fashionista, C fanciful girl, D baby girl for life.
Baby girl for life.
1, which I said followed by
Foodie.
2. You like food?
Yes.
Interesting.
Fanciful girl is definitely the last.
Okay.
So,
fashionista.
Yes, third then.
Interesting. Okay, so let's go now. Which social media platform is the best for you? Top 3.
Twitter, Instagram, WhatsApp.
You didn't know anything.
So I don't really know, to be honest. I'm just on LinkedIn.
Okay.
I'm sure if you've checked my LinkedIn, like, yes, I make sure I check from time to time.
Yeah.
At least engage people, reply messages, do some following, read some articles. But I myself too, I don't know how it works.
So my friend, Omar, you are going to, I've just gotten you a client, investor. What she asked, you have to take her so that Either you're managing and leading. She's the leading queen. So
that's
she knows how to do a lot. She teaches professionals how to LinkedIn to do a lot of
I
stuff.
mean, that would be very interesting.
Okay, so what's your best place to be for a holiday?
Dubai.
Dubai. Wow, my country. Okay, and I think this should be the last one. This one is this is the second to the last one. Wealthy rich man or smart hardworking man to grow with? Choose one.
No, wait. They said, well, smart, it's not equal. It's not equal, no. You said smart, hardworking man. You know, stop there. You said to grow with. You know, said wealthy, rich man. That's what?
No, wealthy rich man. Smart, hardworking man to grow with.
Wealthy, rich man.
You don't like a smart, hardworking man?
No, for it to be wealthy, it means he's smart. He's already wealthy now.
Interesting.
He's wealthy and rich. I mean, he should have been smart to have gotten there.
Okay. So, that's a nice school. Two people will hear this one. Okay, so the last one. In 3 words, describe your dream man.
Godly. Super caring. Less of social media.
Why? Don't want that drama.
No. And the craziest thing is that I think, a lot of my relationships, like, they have never really moved on.
So,
their social media is YouTube. They're always learning. They're always, it's YouTube, LinkedIn, hey, that kind of vibe. Not the ones that will be fighting on Twitter.
So she will invite us one day and tell me. She said, you are not the social media person. It's been an interesting time with Alma on this podcast. And Alma, thank you for honoring my invitation. That was fast, okay? And thank you also for featuring in this podcast. And thank you all for watching Daba TV. Thank you for watching. Remember, every Sunday by 8 p.m., I live stream Wealth Creation Series. And this Sunday, we have another different topic. Every Sunday, 8 p.m., you're learning on Daba TV. Do not forget to like, put a comment, and also share this video. And tell me what you have been learning. Till I come your way next time, keep succeeding. God bless you all.
Thank you.